Today, I'm going to talk about natural, evidence-based ways to increase your metabolic rate, things that actually change how many calories your body burns at rest. It's going to be a good one, guys. Get excited.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
I think we all appreciate that having a faster metabolism is one of the things that makes it easy to look your best, feel your best, perform your best. And that is absolutely true. And when people talk about boosting metabolism, a lot of times they're thinking about this fancy new supplement, this fat burner, this extreme dieting thing. But your body's metabolism is largely controlled by behaviors. And yes, there is some truth that there are some natural genetic components to it for sure. But the good news is above that, the behaviors of how you move, how you eat, how you recover, how much muscle you carry, all of those things can be the overriding factors that drive what your resting metabolic rate is. And this is such an important topic because if you want to burn more body fat at rest, you want to have a great internal engine that's working for you around the clock in order for you to have your healthiest life. Doing things, especially natural things, to boost your metabolism is a really good idea. And this episode series of the podcast is going to be all about that. So in this series, we're going to cover at least 9 legitimate ways to naturally boost metabolism. In this first episode, I'm going to cover the first 3 because they're all tightly connected and linked to each other. Let's jump into it. First up, build and maintain lean muscle mass, lean muscle tissue in your body. This is so important for you guys to understand, for all of us to understand, that muscle tissue is not just there, it is metabolically active. And the more muscle you have, the higher your resting metabolic rate is, which means you burn more calories even just doing nothing if you have more lean muscle tissue on your frame. Think of it this way. Having body fat doesn't burn calories, but muscle does. So if 2 people weigh the same, but one has more muscle, the person with more muscle is going to burn more calories all day long. That's sitting, standing, sleeping, all the above. You're going to burn more calories at rest. And that makes a very big difference, especially over the long term, where you see those compounding effects of the increased calorie burn every single day during every single hour of the day. You can think of it this way. Muscle leads to a higher baseline caloric burn, and it's important that we all realize aging naturally reduces your aggregate total muscle tissue. As you age, you will have less muscle tissue on your body if you don't fight it. Muscle loss leads to a slower metabolism, not just getting older, but it actually slows your metabolism. So then your body functions like it's older. This is why skinny fat people often struggle with weight despite eating less. That's a really important thing. If you want a faster metabolism, muscle is the engine, or a very key engine in that equation. That's the first thing to keep in mind. Number 2, related, lift heavy things. Have regular doses of strength training in your life. Strength training builds the muscle you need. And it also, just as importantly, creates your post-exercise oxygen consumption, meaning you burn more calories after the workout is done. It also improves your insulin sensitivity. Lifting heavy things, having heavy, challenging, compound, resistive exercise in your life improves your insulin sensitivity. Your body literally operates as a more efficient metabolic machine, even at rest. And a lot of people appreciate this, that doing cardio burns calories during your workout. Strength training raises how many calories you burn after the workout and over the long term. So if you're doing cardio for an hour, you'll burn calories for an hour. And that there's some value to that. If you do strength training, you'll burn calories in that hour and then also in the 23 hours that follow that. There is a greater total benefit to resting metabolic rate. See, lifting heavy things sends a signal to your body, hey, we need this muscle. And your body is smart and your body adapts by holding onto muscle, becoming more metabolically efficient. So you got to have this in your life. You want to have the most effective metabolic engine all throughout the day. Now, the good news is this does not have to be every single day lifting, although generally speaking, more is better. And if you're getting in 6 days of challenging training, you're going to be doing fantastically well. But if you're looking for a start point, 2 to 4 days of intentional resistive training, strength training, pushing your body against resistance, whether it's bands, bars, kettlebells, whatever, dumbbells, 2 to 4 days is a really good baseline and start point to work from. I'm going to do a quick note for all the women of the audience. Lifting won't make you bulky unless you're trying really hard to get bulky. So if that is a pushback or if that is a reservation you have, you can go ahead and set that aside. That is not a thing you're going to have to deal with. Here's our takeaway, guys. Strength training does not just burn calories. It literally upgrades your system to being a better system, a better metabolic engine with higher resting metabolic rate, RMR. That's point number 2. Point number 3, also related to the previous 2 talking points. You have to be sure that you eat enough protein. This is very important for your metabolism. From a scientific standpoint, protein has the highest thermic effect of food compared to other macronutrients, and they're all valuable in their own way. But protein, 20 to 30% of your protein calories are burned just digesting it. That's very, very valuable for you. Additionally, preserving muscle during fat loss is essential, and protein is a necessary building block to make that happen. Protein also improves your satiety in general, so you'll have fewer instances of accidental undereating or binge eating. Your body will have more effective, more accurate signals of I'm full, I've eaten enough, if you have enough protein, which makes it easier to eat the right amount of food on average. And that is another factor that drives having your healthiest, most consistent life and energy over time. It's such a fundamental piece of all of this. Your body burns more calories digesting protein than carbs and fat. This is my expounding on the idea of the higher thermic effect of food. When you consume protein, your body burns more calories to digest that protein. So if you have 2 meals that have the same caloric load, let's say 2 meals, each are 500 calories, or each meal is 1,000 calories, but one meal has a higher protein content, the one with the higher protein content is going to drive your metabolism more than the one with less. It's a very natural way of increasing your resting metabolic rate. So some takeaways from this: protein protects muscle, and that protects metabolism. Under-eating protein leads to muscle loss over time. This is especially important for you to know because during fat loss, you may be more predisposed to lose muscle. As you age, you'll be predisposed to lose muscle if you don't actively work to keep it. Or during stressful or high activity periods of life, you may see a loss of muscle if you don't have the protein blocks to give you that buffer of protection against it. So how much protein to eat? In the fitness world, we have a mental shorthand that's a really good start point, and that is that for every pound of goal body weight, let's say you want to weigh 150 pounds, just for example, scale number, however you want. If you want to weigh 150 pounds, having a target daily intake of 150 grams of protein is a pretty good is a pretty good target. If that seems like a whole lot to you, or you're just getting started with this, you might start with 0.7 grams of protein per pound of goal body weight as a start point, and then build over time as your body adapts and gets used to intaking a higher proportion of protein at rest. So, guys, protein feeds muscle, muscle feeds metabolism. So if you take nothing else away from today, remember this. This is my little wrap up, my takeaways from this episode. A slow metabolism is not necessarily something that you're born with. It's something that you can earn over time by under eating, under lifting, under sleeping, losing muscle. And if you do the things we talked about in this episode, you're more likely to nurture and cultivate and build and develop the kind of body that has a higher, faster, more efficient metabolism. And then you get all the benefits that has to offer. In my next episode, we're going to talk about movement outside the gym, sleep, stress, factors that are completely controllable for most people, but things that people often really underestimate when it comes to metabolism. So get ready for the next episode. It's going to be a great one. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more useful tools and guidance, go to CrossFitEdwardsville.com and feel free to like, share, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comment sections down below. See you in the next episode.